The dark forces march to Pearl Keep. The undead armies of phantoms, vampires, and skeletons will soon reach the fortress, and an epic battle will begin. Which side are you on in Stronghold Undead? Thank you for joining me today at Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp. Stronghold Undead is a 2-player board game that's actually a rebalancing of the expansion from almost 10 years ago, and now can be totally played as a standalone game. It plays in about 90 minutes. It's designed by Ignacy Cevicek. It's being published by Portal Games, and they're bringing it to Kickstarter. And they sent us this prototype copy to look at. You'll choose to play either as the invaders or the defenders, and set up the board with cards, meeples, tokens, and more, all laid out. Here's a quick overview of the game. The invaders are going to be assaulting the stronghold, and the defenders are going to try to defend it. If the invaders can crush the defenses of at least one wall section and a breach occurs in the stronghold, then the invaders are going to immediately win the game. But if by the end of the 8th round, the stronghold remains unconquered, then the defenders will win. During Phase 1, there are a few steps. You'll do supplies first, gathering resources like mana crystals for the invaders and hourglasses for the defenders. Then the invader will draw 1 mana card and resolve it like getting more mana and hourglasses than for the defender. At the Altar of Death, they can spend units to get even more mana. But if activated, the defender gets another hourglass. Then the invader decides if they want to activate the Necromancer's library to exchange or even just rearrange their cards. But the spell cards must always be green, blue, then red. And the defender has to spend all their hourglasses. Then Phase 2 is preparations, and there's 5 steps. Step 1 is casting spells. There are 2 types, immediate and tile spells. Mana cost is in the corner, any other requirements, and any effects. Then the invader will activate tiles, resolve effects for activated marshes and graveyards. Step 4 is the invader randomly pulling 14 units and deciding to do minor and or major maneuvers, basically moving them from their ramparts and the foregrounds. The final step in Phase 2 is for the invader to resolve effects of any activated drums and cursed bats, and then you'll move to Phase 3, which is the assault. There's ranged combat, then there's melee combat, and then there's dark presence. The defender will be activating their cannons and crossbows, and the invader their siege machines. Red is a hit, and green is a miss. The marksmen that are on the wall volley against the skeletons. The invaders' phantoms that are in the Strigoi Lyres will be activated to remove those marksmen, and then you'll move into melee combat. Priests on the walls repel phantoms. The strongest invader is killed in ramparts with a consecrated ground tile. Skeletons are killed for cauldrons on walls, and the defender can use stakes to kill all the vampires on that section, but a defender is killed. Now, all units have different strengths. You have the phantoms, the marksmen, the walls. They all have like a strength of 1, whereas the vampires and veterans have a strength of 3. If, after the strength resolution, all defender units on a wall section are killed and the invader still has at least 1 damage left to deal, the game ends immediately and the invaders win. But if not, then the game will continue on. The defender can move units from the hospital to the courtyard and return panic cards that were drawn that round, and if the panic is higher than 0, draws the appropriate number of panic cards. Then comes the final phase, which is cleanup, and then you'll be playing round after round until either the invaders can breach a wall to win the game, or the defenders can make it to the end of the game. As you can see, the game's a little complex, but this game was specifically designed for 2 players with these asymmetric abilities. There's also an expansion called Highest Power that adds council cards and tokens, and also has gate overlays, Add some steps to the different phases in the game too. At the beginning of the game, it looks like the invader is super powerful and can easily win. But they need mana. And the more they use mana, the more they're going to be giving time to the defender. And the time is with those hourglass tokens, which is really going to help the defender in their game. The defender is very restricted with soldiers and items, whereas the invader has a relentless army of evil. There's lots of replayability in this game with so many decisions that you're going to make. And there's even more replayability if you decide to play the other side. So if you're in the invader in one game, you could play the defender in another game, and you're going to have a totally different experience. The game flows quite well, with 4 phases: supplies, preparations, assault, and cleanup, with steps under each one. Portal Games is known for their thematic games: Robinson Crusoe, Detective, and Stronghold Undead brings a thematic experience as the invader is amassing their forces to go against a stronghold, or if you're playing the defender, trying just to hold out to the end of the game. Now I know this is just a prototype, but the illustrations work so well for this game on the board, and the wooden meeples are great, and I love the hourglasses and walls. This game can be compared to other thinky, thematic 2-player games like Twilight Struggle, Star Wars Rebellion, and this game's going to be on Kickstarter, and Portal's looking to unlock some mini expansions like Council, Phantom Dragon, and Bone Thrower. And with spells, new paths to siege the castle, undead mechanisms, and more, definitely check out Stronghold Undead coming from Portal Games on Kickstarter, and we would love for you to subscribe to Tantrum House.